Hello everyone, my name is Patricija. I am an apprentice of Asheville Vedic Astrology. This is my second video lecture and I continue to explore the Rashis. This time I will go through Leo, Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio. And I will be using Brihat Parashara Horashastra and Yavanajataka as my reference point. So without further ado, let's jump into the exploration. Today we will begin with the fifth Rashi, Leo. Here I have a screenshot from Brihat Parashara Horashastra. So now I will dissect this description into sentences and analyze each separately. Beginning with the first sentence. Leo is ruled by the sun and is sattvic. So first of all, I would like to go through the four fundamental factors of the sun, beginning with the fact that the sun is a luminous planet. Because when we look into the sky, we see the sun as a planet, not as a star. And when a planet is luminous, it indicates that it is related to the self and self-expression. Based on that, we learn that Leo Rashi is also about self and self-expression. The next factor about the sun is the form of it. So the form is represented by birds. And birds are creatures that fly in the sky. They can see a lot. So this form refers to the search of one's kingdom. Who am I? What do I want to build and represent? These are questions related to Leo Rashi. The third factor is the sight of the planet. So the sun looks up, meaning that it wants to be inspired, receive inspiration, see greater possibilities, and see more clearly, have a vision for life. Again, all of these topics are connected to Leo Rashi, developing these topics. And the last factor about the planet is that the sun is a dry planet. Thus, it doesn't need comfort or admiration. It also means that the sun is demanding, commanding, straightforward, very focused and sharp. Again, based on this factor, we can learn more about Leo Rashi. What is the energy of the sign? And then lastly, from the sentence, we see that Leo is also sattvic. Now, sattva is one of the three gunas, which inform about the quality of one's actions. And sattva guna has the quality of acting out of pure intentions based on divine and true inspirations. Okay, let's move on. The next sentence. It is a quadruped sign and a royal sign. Let's begin with the first part of the sentence, a quadruped. This is a symbol of the energy of an animal, which is based on instincts and nature. Moreover, it is hard to knock off a body when it is quadruped. It's very firm and stable when it's on force. Thus, Leo is enduring, strong, resilient, and stubborn, as well as connected to its instincts, to its nature. Now, Royal, I would like to offer a deeper dive into the word itself to understand what it truly means. So, Royal stems from Old French, royal, and Latin regales, which mean fit for a king, of a king, kingly. Based on that, Leo's a Rashi built for authority and leadership on a grand scale. Now, to put it all together, Leo Rashi is fit to be a strong, resilient, and powerful leader that is able to exert authority based on its instinctual nature, which can also be seen as internal sovereignty. On to the third sentence. It resorts to forests and rises with its head. Let's begin with the part where it says it resorts to forests. So what is forest? Most often, a forest is a place where we can retreat from the outer busy reality of the human world into ourselves. So from the outside towards inside. This is telling that Leo Rashi needs solitude to rest and decompress from all of its responsibilities and stress that comes with being a leader. In addition, a forest is a calm place which allows us to hear our inner guidance, our inner voice more clearly, and that is vital for being able to make important decisions. So even though Leo Rashi is an extroverted sign, this description is informing that it also needs some time to be alone, to be in silence. So to be able to hear oneself, one's inner guidance, inner voice more clearly, and to rest from all of the responsibilities that come with the package of Leo Rashi. The last part of the sentence, rises with its head, in other words, could be framed as front rising. So Leo is a front rising sign, which means that it is auspicious, or in other words, promising success and good fortune. Okay, let's move on. It has a large, wide body. Now we can look at this from a literal standpoint, or more metaphorically, this could be interpreted as that Leo Rashi can make one's presence more notable. So someone with a dominant, healthy Leo Rashi might walk into the room, have a bigger body, and a more prominent, notable presence. Lastly, with the color white. Now, Leo is ruled by the sun, as you know already, which, despite of usually being depicted as yellow or orange, is actually white. The whiteness of the sun is an emanation of light. Based on that, Leo Rashi can make one's presence illuminating. So not only notable, but illuminating. In other words, the presence of the Leo Rashi can provide with more clarity and inspiration. Okay, let's move on. It resides in the east and is day strong. Beginning with east. So the east is where the sun rises each day. Leo, like the sun, rises each day to attend to its kingdom. In other words, the energy of Leo Rashi is consistent, reliable, disciplined, and trustworthy. And when a Rashi is day strong, it means that it is active. It doesn't dream, contemplate, or wait for someone else to take the lead and guide. Instead, it takes initiative to accomplish that which is necessary. So if one has a healthy and dominant Leo Rashi in their birth chart, their life will be full of activity. So we just concluded with Brihat Parashara or Shastra. Now we continue with the description from Yavanajataka about the fifth Rashi Leo. Just like with Brihat Parashara or Shastra, I will dissect this description into separate sentences and analyze each. Let's begin. The authorities state that the fifth is a lion on a mountain peak. Beginning with the mountain. A mountain is often a symbol for one's goals in life, or in other words, one's personal path of life. The peak of a mountain is the highest point, most hardest to reach. Not everyone has determination to get there. Only those with lots of ambition, passion, and strength of character can attain the summit. This tells that Leo energy tends to push individuals to reach the top of their goals. It pushes them to be the best version of themselves, to be the strongest of the strongest, the most powerful of them all, a true king of the jungle. Out of this, we learned that Leo Rashi can be quite competitive, eager to be number one, to be the best. It will have the determination necessary for it. Continuing on, it is the region of the heart of Prajapati. Now, in medical astrology, Leo can indicate health issues related to the heart. From a more symbolical perspective, I would like to offer an analysis of the word heart. So the origin of the word heart traces such history from Old English hörte back to Proto-Germanic herta and back to Proto-Indo-European ker. And ultimately, this word ker shares the same root as the word core. The latter is a central part of any existence. For example, all fruits have a core. It is the tough part containing seeds, a place from where the fruit expands. This means that the core of the fruit has all knowledge about the unfolding of our lives. So according to all of this, Leo Rashi teaches us to attune to ourselves, to hear and feel the inner wisdom and guidance that dwells in our hearts. Isn't that profound? Lastly, its places are forests, fortresses, caves, woods, mountains, and the dwellings of hunters and kings. Okay, let's begin with fortresses. A fortress is a clear and protective boundary, which is not susceptible to outside influence or disturbance. Based on that, Leo Rashi is about developing a strong and well-defined sense of I, which could block any influences from the outside, like others' opinions or others' influence. Forests, woods, and caves are all places related to solitude, which allows us to connect deeply with ourselves. Again, a similar theme is repeating. And dwellings of hunters and kings. Now, a king is a symbol of power, as we have analyzed previously, while hunters symbolize the assertive and goal action oriented energy. The dwelling spot suggests a place where Leo Rashi feels most at home, which is in a position of power and influence. So before jumping into the next Rashi, I would like to offer a summary, a really short one, just to recap everything we have went through. So first of all, Leo Rashi is about embodying strength, clarity, and greater purpose. Its journey is one of rising, leading, and standing firm in one's truth, even if that requires to stand alone. A sign that teaches us how to be strong from the heart and lead from the core. Now let's jump into Virgo, the sixth Rashi. And again, looking at the description from Brihat Parashara Horashastra. Again, let's just take step after step. This sign is a hill resorter and is strong in daytime. A hill resorter. Now, we have to dissect this a little bit to understand what this description really means. And let's begin with the word resort. What does that mean? So it means to go to a place again or to frequently visit a place. While a hill is the symbol of an obstacle, challenge, or physical difficulty. When you put that together, the phrase hill resorter reveals that Virgo is a Rashi that often deals with obstacles and difficulty of the physical realm. Since it is also strong in daytime, Virgo Rashi is able to be functional about facing the challenges rather than being passive. So it tackles with problems instead of being passive. Additionally, hills like mountains can provide with more clarity, meaning that Virgo is a Rashi related to having clarity of the mind. And we will come back to this in a bit. Let's move on. It rises with its head and has a medium build. Again, very similar to Leo Rashi. When a sign rises with its head, it means that it's front rising, which means that Virgo is auspicious. It has an auspicious quality, meaning that the soil of this Rashi can manifest with more ease and grace. Moreover, since it rises with its head, it also indicates that Virgo tends to respond to life not immediately or based on instincts. Rather, it tends to think things through and then make a decision. Of course, this applies to Virgo also because it's ruled by Mercury, the planet of thinking before making a decision. Now, talking about the body, Virgo has a medium build. From a literal standpoint, Virgo influences the body or a body part to be medium-sized. Medium also means that it is in the middle or balanced, in other words. So it can give a balanced body, symmetrical body. It is a biped sign and resides in the south. Beginning with the first part of the sentence. So Virgo is a two-footed Rashi, which gives an ability to be more adaptable, less fixed and stubborn, more flexible. Moreover, bipedalism indicates that Virgo has the energy that allows one to move in different directions and explore different ways of expressing, living, thinking and believing. Also, bipedalism allowed us humans to free up our hands, enabling them to create tools. Also use hands for social purposes and communication. So therefore, Virgo symbolizes developing skills with our hands and learning how to communicate and create connections with others. And the last part of the sentence, it resides in the south. Now, the south is a downward direction. Thus, it relates to the earth element, which represents practicality, reliability, and productivity, all qualities associated with Virgo Rashi. Okay, the next sentence. It has grains and fire in its hands. So we can look at this sentence from a few perspectives. First one would be fire produces heat, which can cook grains. Based on that, Virgo Rashi is connected to the fields of culinary, nutrition, restaurants, food industries, etc. Or cooking food is a way to nourish and provide energy for the physical body, meaning that Virgo Rashi is related to health and self-care. From another perspective, if the food is cooked for others, then Virgo reveals itself as a Rashi of service, providing for others, taking care of others. Also, fire can purify and transform. Often the food is cooked to clean it from unwanted bacteria. According to that, Virgo is a Rashi of cleanliness and purity. Next sentence. It belongs to business community and is variegated. Again, beginning with the first part of the sentence, business community. This is telling that Virgo Rashi feels comfortable because it belongs here. So it feels comfortable and excels in groups of like-minded individuals, especially those which are interested in creativity and commerce. In other words, this description is informing that Virgo is not an individual energy where one would go about things alone and independently. Instead, Virgo Rashi tends to associate itself with others and go about things in a collaborative way. And variegated means that it's multicolored. This is revealing that Virgo Rashi is diverse. It has many colors. It's very versatile, hence exceptionally great at adapting to any given situation. Okay, it relates to hurricanes. As you can see at the corner, I have put an image of a hurricane, and right in the middle there's this eye, the eye of the hurricane. Let's talk a bit more about this and how it relates to Virgo Rashi. So as a hurricane intensifies, it develops an eye in the center. Scientifically, it is known that the eye area of a hurricane is typically calm, quiet, clear, and windless. Based on this, Virgo Rashi can be metaphorically understood as the eye of the hurricane, meaning that its energy is centered in mental clarity and calmness when emotional or external chaos surrounds it. Also, a hurricane usually leaves lots of damage behind. Houses are destroyed, fallen trees or branches block the roads, cities are flooded, people need to be evacuated, provided with housing or any type of other help. So with this in mind, Virgo Rashi relates the act of helping others in moments of crisis, and to the act of restoring structure. Okay, another sentence. It is a virgin and is tamasa. Let's begin with the word virgin and let's explore it in more depth. So the word virgin stems from Latin virgo, which translates as a young unmarried woman, or fresh, unused, pure, naive, inexperienced. In view of these various translations, Virgo Rashi symbolizes a fresh and youthful feminine energy that lacks experience and thus can be naive, but also acts with pure and transparent intentions. This is also why often Virgo Rashi influences people to be shy. If you have noticed this, with people who have a dominant Virgo energy in their birth chart. And here I have added what Ryan Kurczak has said about Virgo in relation to this description. Virgo represents pureness within. If Virgo Rashi is not afflicted, a person may have difficulty with relating to the masses of the world, which typically are not that pure or innocent. Of course, vice versa, with Virgo being afflicted, we might find someone who doesn't have pure or innocent intentions. Now, tamasa. This is one of the three gunas. Just like sattva, tamas is also a guna. And tamas translates as darkness, gloom, or dullness from Sanskrit language. With this in mind, the quality of the action of tamas guna is based on the need to fix and improve things because the mind focuses on negativity and problems. Okay, the last sentence, its ruler is Mercury. Again, I would like to provide with 4 fundamental factors about Mercury, and through that, we will learn more about Virgo. So, Mercury is a starry planet. And this means that Mercury is about gaining skills and developing various attributes of self. So Virgo will be related to that as well. The other factor of Mercury is the form. The form is the same one as of the sun. Birds represent Mercury. So the latter fly up high and see the world from a greater perspective, and in general can see a lot. First, this indicates that Virgo Rashi tends to look for all of the possible perspectives to see the whole picture. Second, this tells that Virgo is a curious sign that enjoys grasping as much as possible. Third, this aspect shows that the nature of Virgo is to be at constant search for the best solution, opportunity, deal, friendship, situation, etc. Mercury, like Venus, looks sideways, which means that it is looking for all kinds of options within the physical plane. What could be found in one's environment? Now, Mercury is a moist planet, and planets that are moist are in between the wet and the dry qualities, meaning that they are both able to be blunt and gentle, caring and aloof, compassionate and demanding. It all depends on the situation. Again, Virgo is a very flexible sign, so it will act according to the situation. Okay, so that's it with Brihad Parashara Hora Shastra. Let's move on to the description from Yavanajataka about Virgo. Beginning with a maiden standing in the boat on the waters and holding a torch in her hand. So a maiden is a young female. Waters is a symbol for the emotional realm. A torch signifies light and clarity. The boat acts as a boundary. Now, all together, Virgo is a Rashi that doesn't get involved in emotions. Instead, it keeps a distance to be able to see things with more clarity. And out of this, we learn that Virgo represents rational intelligence, functioning through rationality rather than emotionality. It is the belly of the creator. In medical astrology, Virgo Rashi can indicate health problems related to the belly. Now, also, the condition of Virgo Rashi in the birth chart can show how well do we digest and integrate life experiences. From another perspective, the phrase belly of the creator speaks to Virgo as a sacred, fertile space where divine potential is conceived, refined, and prepared for birth into the material world. It is about inner creation and the nurturing and purification of it. Lastly, since the large intestine is also in the belly, Virgo Rashi shows whether we can eliminate that which is unnecessary, useless, or even toxic out of the system. This can be perceived both literally and figuratively. Its lands are grassy and suitable for women, sexual intercourse, and crafts. Let's begin. Its lands are grassy. So lands are grassy, symbolize lush, fertile, and cultivated spaces that resonate with Virgo's dedication to provide nurturing and nourishing service. This description also informs that Virgo is related to the earth element, which is a symbol of fertility. Woman, Virgo Rashi is infused with feminine energy. Now, talking about sexual intercourse, Virgo represents purity, as we have learned before. The reference to sexual intercourse could relate to sacred sexuality or the fertile creative act, which is very much a part of the earth element's expression. And lastly, crafts. Virgo is related to an activity involving skill in making things by hands. We have already talked about this with it being a bipedal sign. And in today's world, it can be both physical, like weaving, cooking, writing, making herbal teas, and similar activities. And it can be also non-physical. For example, editing videos or photos, creating animation, doing things more technologically. So before diving into the next Rashi, I would like to offer a summary of Virgo Rashi. So first of all, Virgo is a practical, action-oriented earth sign associated with service, healing, and skill. It prefers thoughtful decisions over impulsive reactions and excels at facing challenges with clarity. It is connected to health, nutrition, and purification. Virgo serves through nurturing and problem solving. It thrives in collaborative environments and holds a calm and rationality-based center in moments of chaos. which means that Virgo could be a really good manager in a big team. Lastly, rooted in feminine purity. It seeks to improve the world through mindful action and sincere intentions. Okay, let's move on to the 7th Rashi, Libra. Again, looking at the description from Vrihat Parashara Hora Shastra. Let's begin with the first sentence. Libra is a Sirshadaya sign rising with its head and is strong in daytime. Now, Sirshadaya is a Sanskrit word that means front rising, another front rising sign, which is synonymous to the saying that the sign is rising with its head. Like Virgo, like Leo, Libra has an auspicious quality, meaning that the soil of Libra can manifest with more ease and grace. Let's continue on with the last part of the sentence, strong in daytime. So that means that Libra is suitable for activity. It's not passive, it's not daydreaming, it does things. It is black in complexion and is predominant in Rajaguna. Again, let's begin with the first part of the sentence. Black in complexion. What is complexion? A complexion is the natural color, texture, and appearance of a person's skin. According to that, Libra Rashi can give a darker skin tone, as well as appearance, like having a preference to wear black or darker clothes. Moreover, black is not considered to be a color because it is the absorption of all colors. In other words, black is the absorption of light. According to that, the black color reveals that Libra is a Rashi without its own light. Instead, it is dependent on the light of others. Okay. Rajaguna. Libra is predominant in this guna. Again, guna translates as quality, quality of action, tendency, motivation. And Rajas is one of the three gunas. We have already went through sattva, tamas. What is Rajas? Rajas has the quality of being greatly energized, driven, and having a need for pleasure and passion. So in other words, Rajaguna is the creative force of life. Libra is full of creative force. It relates to the western direction and resorts to land. Let's begin with western direction. The west is where the sun sets. It symbolizes the end of the day, the end of work and responsibilities, and with that, a time for pleasure and relaxation. This means that Libra represents leisure time, which might include personal interest, fun activities, time with friends, and doing things for one's own pleasure, satisfaction, or fulfillment. Resorts to land. What does that mean in relation to Libra? So land symbolically represents stability, groundedness, tangible reality, and sometimes materiality or the physical world. Although Libra belongs to the air element, resorting to land indicates that it is able to function in a grounded way. It is destructive or mischievous. So the word mischievous stems from Old French meshaver, which means to come to an unfortunate end. And remember, Libra relates to the west, where the sun sets and ends the day, symbolically bringing death. Now, out of these, I connect what Ryan Kurczak has said. Killing and destroying to move into a higher and new state. So something has to be destroyed for something new to come. Also, killing and destroying for fairness, for a better world. So really what all of this is saying is that death leads into birth. And Libra, as the 7th sign of the zodiac, the 7th being related to other people coming into our lives and having an exchange with other people or other things, in that dynamic, something has to die for something new to come in. I have to let go of something or give away to receive. So this description is informing us that whenever we engage in exchanges, whether that's between two people or more people, or we're talking about things like I want to, let's say, buy a table, I have to let go of money that I have. It's part of my energetic system to get that table. So death and rebirth, they are constantly in exchange. And this is the wisdom of Libra. Okay, let's continue. It represents Shudras, or the 4th Varna, and has a medium build and is a biped sign. Let's begin with Shudra. What is that? Shudra is the 4th caste of the caste system in India. In today's world, it relates to the serving and hard-working class. So if someone has a dominant Libra energy in their chart, most likely that person will find themselves in a position of serving, and that process, that job would be pretty difficult, hard, like labor. Medium build. Libra Rashi gives a medium size and well-balanced body, similar as Virgo. And lastly, a biped sign. Libra Rashi is like a human standing on 2 feet. This is symbolic, meaning that Libra Rashi is adaptable, flexible, and even dexterous since the hands are freed up. Its lord is Venus. This is the last sentence from Brihad Parashara or Shastra. Just like Mercury, Venus looks like a star in the sky, not as a planet most often. Sorry, not even most often. It always looks like a star. It's that we sometimes can see it and other times we can't. But it always looks like a star. So it is a starry planet, meaning that it influences us to gain skills, develop various attributes of self. The form of Venus is bipedalism. This means that Venus represents a human's consciousness, which seeks to find, create a greater meaning or a long-term vision that would help to endure life. And Libra will be functioning in that way. Venus looks sideways, which means that it is looking for all kinds of options within the physical realm. What could be found in one's environment? And lastly, Venus is a wet planet, thus it likes to have and give comfort to others. Also, this quality contributes to being more sensitive and compassionate towards others, as well as adaptable and easygoing. So that's it with Brihad Parashara Horashastra. Now we will continue with Yavanajataka. Let's begin with the first sentence. The next is the man bearing goods on a balance and standing in the marketplace. And here is a quote of Ryan Kurczak in relation to this sentence. A conscious being who is able to think and assign the world into good and bad. This is Libra. Assigning the world into good and bad. Additional thoughts of Ryan Kurtzak. Weighing, which is better or more valuable? How to ensure balance and fairness. Libra tries to find fairness for everyone. How to ensure that everyone will be happy with their peace. So out of this, we learn that Libra tends to think of others, not only of itself, but it considers others as well, and it cares that everyone will be happy. Out of the sentence, we also learn that Libra Rashi represents trade and commerce. It is the region of the navel, hips, and bladder. Libra Rashi can indicate health problems related to the navel, belly, hips, and bladder, if we look at the sentence from a literal standpoint. Now, from a more symbolic or metaphorical, the navel connects in that way. So, Ryan Kurczak has said this. The seventh can show how well we can connect with others because the navel is related to the umbilical cord, which connects us with the mother. The relationship with the mother shapes our capacity and quality of connecting with other people. Now, hips. The hip acts as a multi-axial ball and socket joint upon which the upper body is balanced during stance and gait. The balance and stability provided by the hip joint allow motion while supporting forces encountered during daily activities. So this is scientific, biological, and we can look at this through that lens, or we can understand that hips are the symbol of the scale, which is trying to balance. So as we go about our day, Libra Rashi is about maintaining balance, not moving into one or the other direction, in other words, to the extremes, trying to ensure that whatever we do, that however we live our lives, is through the perspective of balance, that it's balanced. And bladder functions as a reservoir, an active excretory organ for urine. Metaphorically, this can be viewed as another indication of Libra Rashi being connected to the process of death or letting go. Okay, the last sentence. Its places are those of custom duties, money, lyres, coins, cities, roads, caravansaries, and ripened grain. Beginning with custom duties, money, coins. I put them together because to me they are talking about the same topic. So Libra Rashi is related to wealth, commerce, import and export of goods, taxation, and legal fairness, areas where balance and agreement are essential. Lyres. This indicates a connection of Libra Rashi to artistry. Cities, roads, caravansaries. These are all places of exchange, travel, and social interaction. Caravanseries were an inn that provided lodging for travelers, merchants, and caravans. Based on this, Libra reveals to be a Rashi that deals not only with human relations and commerce, but also movement between places that can result in connecting people together that are of different cultures and places. And lastly, ripened grain can be seen not just as a harvest, but as a result of cultivation. Libra gives us the results of our actions, of our cultivation, what we are working on. Before jumping into the last Rashi, let's look at the summary of Libra Rashi to recap everything that we have gone through. So first of all, Libra Rashi, rising with its head, symbolizes thoughtful decision-making and grace, often associated with fairness and social harmony. Governed by Venus, Libra embodies adaptability, sensitivity, and a desire for comfort and leisure time, as well as connection to trade, commerce, and social exchange. Physically, it tends to give a medium balanced build and is related to the navel, hips, and bladder, areas symbolizing connection, balance, and release. Libra reflects a grounded, diplomatic energy focused on fairness, relationships, and the blending of diverse people and cultures. That's all with Libra. Let's continue with the last Rashi of today, Scorpio. Again, looking at the description of Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra, beginning with the first sentence. Scorpio has a slender physique and is a centipede sign. Slender physique. Based on Parashara, Scorpio Rashi can give a lean or sharper physiology. The body might be more angular, intense, than soft or round. Centipede. How does that connect with Scorpio? All centipedes are venomous and can inflict painful stings. They are predominantly carnivores, avoiding direct sunlight by staying under cover or by being active at night. According to this, centipede sign can be metaphorically interpreted as the hidden, dangerous, antagonistic, secretive, and deep, or beyond the surface energy of the Scorpio Rashi. It denotes Brahmins and resides in holes. Let's begin with the word Brahmins, and we have to dive deep into it to fully understand what it means. So Brahmins is a Sanskrit word that stems from Brahma. The root of the word Brahma is Brh, which means to grow, to expand. The knowledge of the root explains why it is a word which denotes to the creative principle or God. In addition, Brahmins is one of the 4 castes from the caste system of India that belong to people who devoted their lives to learn and remember about how existence works and is created. To be specific, Brahmins were mainly priests, full of knowing and thus able to advise and guide people. Okay, let's look into the other part of the sentence before putting it all together. Resides in holes. The idea of a whole can be perceived in many different ways. For example, a whole from a psychological viewpoint might represent the process of entering the unconscious or subconscious mind to reveal the unacknowledged or hidden patterns, fears, conditions, and traumas. From a shamanic perspective, a whole can be seen as a portal between the known world and the unknown world, or the world of the mundane and the spirit world. So a Brahmin in a whole says that Scorpio Rashi gives existential, universal, and self-knowledge through the process of descending deep within into the inner whole in various ways. Its direction is north and is strong in daytime. North in direction, let's begin with that. So the north points to the heavens and beyond, thus symbolizes spiritual quest, growth, and non-physical focus or aim. This clearly resonates with the idea of Brahmins, once again emphasizing Scorpio as a Rashi for deep and profound knowledge. It is reddish brown and resorts to water and land. Let's begin with the color. And what can we learn from that? So reddish brown. Most often, scorpions are reddish brown in their complexion. However, symbolically speaking, the combination of the color red and brown could be interpreted as a relationship between the passionate, driven, and fierce, intense energy, which is related to the color red, with the deeply rooted and patient one associated with the color brown, indicating that Scorpio Rashi has the capacity to express both polarities. And the other part of the sentence, water and land. This speaks to the adaptable nature of Scorpio Rashi, which is able to navigate and survive in diverse environments. From another viewpoint, this description can be understood in a mystical sense, which is that Scorpio Rashi is about mastering the capability to bridge the underworld with the material. It has a hairy physique and is very sharp or passionate. Mars is its ruler. Okay, so it has hairy physique. What does that mean? So although modern science is only at the beginning stages of understanding the body here as an antenna, such knowledge has been known long time ago by many ancient cultures. According to that, by having a hairy physique, Scorpio reveals itself as a Rashi of deep sensitivity that is capable of scanning the most subtle energies in its space. And Mars is its ruler. So Mars is a dry planet, which means that it does need comfort. It's sharp, as it is said in this sentence also. Mars is also related to passion. It is commanding, driven. Therefore, Scorpio is as well. Mars represents the consciousness of a general or a soldier, one that can receive directions, one who can listen to instruction and just go and do it. So Mars is our energy, which we can direct towards accomplishing something. So Scorpio will be like that, and Scorpio is strong in daytime, so it's already active. Mars looks up for guidance and inspiration, so the Scorpio, and it is connected to quadrupeds that focus on survival. It is full of passion and courage. Okay, So that's it. Now, the 8th Rashi Scorpio, based on the description from Yavanajataka. The 8th has the shape of a scorpion in its whole. So let's begin with a scientific perspective. Scientists have observed that scorpions tend to hide in various holes during the day. They do so to protect themselves from bigger predators that could kill and eat them. Typically, scorpions feel safe to venture out of the hole during nighttime, when the darkness of the environment merges with the darkness of their hole. A scorpion in its hole during the day can be interpreted as someone feeling afraid to get out into the world and be seen as they are, because there is a sense of external danger. However, Scorpio Rashi belongs to the water element, thus it represents our internal or psychological state. Based on that, Scorpio Rashi can indicate absence of internal sense of safety and security that unconsciously can be projected as an external problem. Okay, let's move on. It is said to be the region of the penis and anus of the Lord. So, penis. Scorpio Rashi is connected to the sexual and reproductive organs. Anus. Scorpio Rashi can show if someone has issues with elimination and removal of toxins. Now, penis plus anus, to what do we say come in, and to what do we say get out? This is represented by Scorpio energy. What sort of things do we let into our system, and what sort of things do we block, reject, or eliminate? The condition of Scorpio Rashi might reveal whether this is functioning in a healthy way or not in a healthy way. For example, if it's not healthy, someone might say, come into drugs and say, get away from me, healthy lifestyle. Or would say, come in, toxic people, and get away, loving, caring, supportive people, if Scorpio is afflicted. Okay, the last sentence from Yavanajataka about Scorpio. Its places are caves, pits, and holes, poisonous and stony areas, prisons, and the abodes of worms, boa constrictors, and snakes. Let's begin with poisonous areas. I will pass caves, pits, and holes because I believe that I have provided enough of information and analysis about these areas in relation to Scorpio. So from a literal standpoint, poisonous areas could connect with Scorpio Rashi in that way that it could make one work as a toxicologist, chemist, pharmacologist, surgeon, psychiatrist, miner, or drug dealer. Now, symbolically, this tells that Scorpio is about transforming inner poison into medicine. And I am saying this based on scientific discoveries, which are that certain venomous scorpions have poison, which, when is extracted and modified in a laboratory, can be used to treat certain illnesses. So venom becomes a medicine. But for that to become a medicine, a process of transformation has to occur. And according to that, I am saying that symbolically Scorpio represents the process of going within identifying our inner poison, which is our traumas, fears, conditioning, and transforming that into medicine for ourselves, to heal ourselves. And then as we heal ourselves, we become medicine for others to heal as well. Okay, now focusing on prisons. Metaphorically, Scorpio can indicate addictions, obsessions, emotional bondage, and self-restriction. From a literal standpoint, issues with Scorpio Rashi can show someone with problematic or predatory behavior that could lead to be put into a prison. Now, worms. Worms work silently and beneath the surface, meaning that Scorpio Rashi connects with researchers and investigators, or anyone else who does something secretively beneath the surface, hidden, unseen. And boa constrictors. If you don't know what that is, by the way, just Google it up. It's a huge snake which kills its prey by strangling, by using lots of pressure. So this, again, more symbolically, represents the intensity of binding and fixating on something. So Scorpio is already a fixed sign. This description is putting another layer onto it, that Scorpio can fix on something, bind, and that whole process can be quite intense. I'm skipping snakes because what they represent most often symbolically was already analyzed previously, and that is the process of death, rebirth, shedding your skin. Okay, so that's it. Now let's wrap it up with a summary of Scorpio Rashi. So Scorpio Rashi symbolizes deep transformation, inner intensity, and the process of accessing universal knowledge through the descent into one's darkness. It rules over the sexual and eliminatory organs, representing life, death, and rebirth, and is connected to caves, poisons, prisons, and creatures like snakes and centipedes, all pointing to themes of secrecy, survival, and inner alchemy. Physically, it may give a lean and hairy body, sensitive to subtle energies, while emotionally it can reflect a lack of internal safety that projects danger onto the outer world. Governed by Mars, Scorpio blends fierce willpower with psychic depth, acting in both material and mystical realms, bridging water and land. That's it. We have went through all of the 4 Rashis. I hope that this lecture was insightful for you, that you could learn new things. Thank you so much for watching. It's a great honor to share this knowledge with you, and I hope to see you in my next video.